good morning, and welcome to CSL Denver, a place, a space, and a face of love. A spiritual community teaching ancient wisdom and utilizing universal principles to embody the intelligence and wisdom of the divine and to empower our lives and the lives of others. I'm so glad that you're here today as we continue our journey that we started this month on vulnerability as a power, not as something to kowtow to, but as a power. And today we will look at understanding the challenges along the journey of embracing that power, of understanding vulnerability and making it something that we look forward to as opposed to run from. Because you see, on this journey of life, there is no way around challenges. Now, if anybody has been able to do that, please raise your hand because I want to get the finer notes of how you do that. Because there's no way to avoid challenges. And here in Colorado, where we have these beautiful mountains and the day is a beautiful day, we know when we start our mountain hikes, as the weather gets better and the sun melts some of the snow, we know there's no sidestepping. You have to get on the path and you have to put one foot in front of the other. And sometimes there's obstacles. I remember the first time I went for a hike with a friend of mine he was literally a mountain goat. He would walk up these steep mountains and I literally was on my hands and knees trying not to fall 1,000 feet. But he always said, just put one foot in front of the other. You'll make it. Watch for the divots. Watch for the little critters. Watch for the little things that are in the way that will create a challenge. And so the idea that he planted in my head was one foot in front of the other. And when we look at how do we prepare for challenges and understanding challenges, that was the cornerstone for me to make it to my first 14er. I did not get bogged down with the what ifs and the why to's and the wherefores. I put one foot in front of the other. I kind of grabbed hold to my emotions and sneak preview. Emotions and vulnerability are like first cousins. If you're having an emotional something, there's a vulnerability there. Even if it's an emotion of joy, right? Because if I'm joyful, I'm vulnerable now because I've opened myself up to take in what is going on in that specific place right now. And when we look at all spiritual leaders, they all did that. They put themselves in a vulnerable position as they walked the journey to enlighten people, to give them a different way of living, to open up their eyes and their ears to a different way of seeing and hearing everything around them. And another thing we learn on these journeys, and mountain climbing is a good one, there are no two steps that are alike. Now, my friend is tall. He was taking these giant steps, and I'm trying to take 2, 3 just to keep up so I don't get left and try to figure out where I am. I was vulnerable. Because if he had left me on that mountain, it would have been bad. I might not be here today because it was a bright, sunny day. We got to the top of the mountain, and they had, I think it's called grommet. It was like rain and hail and snow all together. Although down at the base of the mountain, it was beautiful. When we got to the top of the mountain, it was cold and foggy and grommet, if you will. But I learned to get in tune with the vulnerability, to put one foot in front of the other. And as I did that, I began to understand this law. There's this law. It's a law of flotation, as they say. And we have this slide that talks to that law that says the law of flotation was not discovered by contemplating the sinking of things, but by contemplating the floating things which floated naturally, and then intellectually ask why they do so. So as we go on this journey, we want to take that same law of flotation and look at it. And as we know in this teaching, we want to find the correspondence for any environment we are in. So what's if I'm sailing, I'm looking for a law of flotation. If I'm climbing a mountain, I'm looking at laws of gravity or laws of the replenishment of oxygen. I forget the name of that, the respiratory thing, Nick, because when you get up that mountain, that air gets thin and you get tired and you are vulnerable, and you have to understand that before you take the journey. When we left on that journey, my friend, he had this pack and he had it. I started asking things and he kept, like the Red Goose spaghetti sauce, it's in there. Do we have some water? It's in there. We got snacks. It's in there. We got Band-Aids. It's in there. Everything is in there. And everything is in there, meaning when you get ready to go on a journey, you have to be prepared for the challenges. So you pack yourself, you plan, you set yourself up for success, not failure. Because the other side of that story was when we went, we had intended to sleep on the mountain that night. But when we got there to the base of where we're going to sleep, it was full of snow, wet and soggy. Now, we had a tent. We made a good decision not to stay, but we were prepared. We had a tent. We had a ground cover. We had everything we needed. But we were prepared because we understood the challenges of the journey. So when we begin to navigate this path of vulnerability, it can be painful. But there's one thing I would be willing to suggest, that every painful opportunity gave us the wherewithal to grow or to transform or to see life in a different way. And that made all the difference. If we really look at it, that made all the difference of being successful, if you will, or not. Of being successful or not. There's a favorite book of mine, and some of you, if not all of you, may have heard of it, called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And in this book, The Alchemist, the traveler is looking to go on this adventure to Egypt to find the pyramids. He has this dream, and he's like, I don't even know what pyramids are, but something's telling me to go there. And so he's a sheep herder. He embarks on this journey. And through that journey, he's able to seek out the meaning of life, to find treasure, because he has this dream that there's some treasure buried. Now, that treasure we know, and when we look at these things metaphorically, that treasure is all the essence within you, all the vulnerabilities, all the strength, all of the things that make you who you are. And if we leave them in the ground, so to speak, uncovered, unrevealed, they have very little value. What good is to have $1 million buried in the ground? And you could say you're a millionaire, but you can't never spend anything because you don't know what money is. But when you begin to explore, when you make yourself open, then things change. And on this journey, the one thing that he found was mentors all along the way, in different places, at the shop, on the road, in a caravan. Our vulnerabilities are mentors for us as we travel this journey. They teach us. They let us know how to perceive different things, how to listen to different things. And so when we can tune into our emotions, as we said before, that preview that's the key to our vulnerabilities. It's kind of like the gauge in your car, your gas gauge. Your emotions are very similar to the gas gauge. When the gas gauge starts going towards E, you don't ignore it. You say, "Ooh, I need some more fuel," and you find the closest and the cheapest, if possible, gas station to get some gas. Well, the same thing with your emotions. If you coming up feeling anger or disappointment, that's a gauge to say you're depleting of the divine energy. Something has happened, and that divine energy that makes you go from point A to point B is waning. So first thing you check, you make sure you got gas in the tank, right? And if you don't, do I have a hole in the tank, or do I need to adjust the engine so that my gas burns more efficiently? But that gauge is there to let you know something is wrong, something is out of whack. And so when you feel vulnerable, that's the first thing you want to ask yourself. Where am I lacking energy? Where am I allowing energy to move out of my life? Because when we can do that, then we can step with understanding and discipline. You know, there's a thing that says with gas in your car, energy, right? Just using the gas as the metaphor for the divine energy of our lives. Gas efficiency said, never let your gas tank go below half. They said when it gets to half tank, fill it up. Because it keeps the momentum, if you will, of the gas in the tank level. Because if not, it's going to slosh and fumes and all. So if you keep it there at never let it go below half, well, one thing you can almost be sure you won't run out of gas for sure. But the other thing is the efficiency of how that gas is used is supplemented by keeping it half filled. And then the other thing, of course, you know, anything that's half filled, you know, a glass, is it half filled or half empty, right? Again, it's your perception. And so that's what happened when you have these vulnerabilities, when we understand what it means to be on this journey, And so as we prepare to continue on this journey called life, knowing that challenges will be in the way and that we have to become vulnerable if we're going to get to the other side, if you will. And that doesn't matter whether you're climbing a mountain or going down in the valley. Challenges are, either way you go, there's challenges. So I want to give you three things to keep you grounded, to keep you level on this journey. The first thing is openness. And going along with the openness, we want to keep in mind this idea of integrity. Because when we're open, we allow all the experiences of life to come together. We have these cameras in the room, and if we start constricting that lens on the camera, the picture gets smaller and smaller. And we only begin to see part of the whole. But when we open that aperture up, then we see more. We see the background, we see the foreground, we see the subject. And then when we can do that with integrity, i.e., when we can do that looking to create a whole picture, because that's what integrity means. Integrity means wholeness. I am integrally connected to every other part of myself. That's what integrity means, to be whole, meaning accepting the good and the bad, the bitter and the sweet. And when we can do that, then we can be open, because I don't have any vulnerabilities, so to speak, because I know I got them, so I'm not worried about them. It's just a part of life. So we stay open. Stay open. And when we do that, you know, I don't know if we have any artists in the house. I used to try to be, and I gave it up.
Really?
Wasn't that good? But when you're an artist, especially when you are a painter, they have a blank canvas, and then they have all kinds of brushes, all kinds of color palettes, and they are open to use different brush strokes and different types of brushes, whether they're nylon or hair brushes or taking certain colors and mixing them together. They're open. Which leads to the next thing directly is innovation in knowing. There's an innovation in knowing that we have to embark in our lives when we prepare for this journey called life. Most artists are considered innovators, whether they're musicians or poets or artists, sketch artists, photographers. They're innovators. They take what looks common, excuse me, and make it look like, wow, how did you come up with that? They were open. How many times have you heard an artist say, oh, it took me 10 times to get that picture right? They were open first. They were looking for wholeness. But then they knew in their shortcomings, there was an innovative knowingness that if I just keep trying, if I just keep moving forward, things will happen. And as the saying goes, things don't just happen, they happen just. They happen justly. They don't just happen. They happen justly to the way that you live your life, to the way that you face your challenges. That's what we are here to do. To grow, to learn, to remember. We got so many fancy words to basically mean remember that you are a child of God on a journey to wholeness, looking for everything possible to take you to the mountaintop, And when you can do that, I don't know what to tell you, but, throw your hands up. Like, this whole innovative thing, I was inspired, and I maybe it's just me. They got this whole thing now. It's old, but it's new to me. This DIY, this do-it-yourself thing on TV, and they got all these fix-it-up things and how to go in your closet and rearrange your whole wardrobe, or go in your garage and take all the junk and make it something. That's innovative. When I watched one of those shows, I said, boy, I would have threw them clothes out. I wouldn't have came up with new ways to match them. They came up with new ways to take the old skirt with the new coat and the old pants with the new shirt. And they came up with a whole new wardrobe. Now, I would have just threw them out. They're old fashioned, they don't work, Because, and why would I throw them out? Because I'm feeling vulnerable. I'm not in style, right? That's why they're in the closet now. They're not in style and I'm not wearing them. But it took somebody with an innovative look, with the knowingness that there's always a way. They came up with this new idea. Boom, now I'm back in fashion. I hope I am. Y'all let me know. Yeah, y'all let me know. It's a tricky thing sometimes. But when we can do this, when we can be whole and we can open up, and we can look for innovative ways to make it through the journey, then we are really prepared to accept that vulnerability as a power. Okay, so you found a weakness. Good, that gives me something to strengthen. So you found a point where I think I'm less than. All right, that's something I need to work on. Or maybe I don't. Or maybe it's versatile. I work on it today because it helps here, and tomorrow I let it go because it helps over there. We have to quit looking at life as this straight line. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but I believe it to be true. I heard some mathematicians, them real smart guys, they said there is no such thing as a straight line in the universe. But we try to be on a straight line. There is no straight line. Even when the line looks straight, if you look closely, there's a little wiggle all the way down. But the line never gets confused by that. It says, well, there's a little vulnerability. I'm not quite straight there, but all right, let me straighten it up over here. Oh, let me get back over here. When you can do that with your life and not be condemning yourself or allowing yourself to be in some kind of box, The world becomes your paint palette. The world becomes your mountaintop or your valley low. It depends on where you are today. And so when we can do that, we're almost there. And then the last thing that we need is to allow. We just need to allow life to happen. You know, there's that verse in the Bible that says, look at the lilies of the field. They don't strive. They don't toil. They just allow. They just all right, sun coming out today. All right, I'm going to take in some sun today. Oh, no sun today, rain. All right, I'm going to take a little rain today. It doesn't show any necessary preference. It knows by allowing everything it needs will be provided. Everything it needs will be provided. But we have to be open, innovative, and allowing. We have to be open and allowing. And one thing about allowing, it opens up this whole Pandora's box, if you will, not in a negative way, because Pandora's box is kind of bad, I guess. But it opens up this whole idea of collaboration. When you are allowing, you open yourself to be collaborated with and to collaborate with others and give everything its proper due. That's what life is about. That's what we begin to put in our toolkit. When we look, there's a quote by Eric Butterworth that says this: "I am receptive to the inflow and outpouring of the universe." There's an allowing there. There's an openness there. There's a collaboration there that's moving us in the direction of our dreams. No matter how it looks, we're always moving in the direction of our dreams. And so I want you to, this week, think about, where am I open or not? Where am I innovative or not? Where am I allowing or not? Because this next slide, I think, kind of really opens up to where we want to be. When we are vulnerable, I believe we are our truest self. Emotion is all about vulnerability. And that is why, in the cheekiest sense, it is so beautiful. That's why it is so beautiful. Now, if I had any Londoners or people from Australia or from the British Empire, they would understand that cheekiness. That's a kind of a mischievous, jovial kind of play with life, if you will. He's so cheeky. But that's when we're at our truest. We're not here to be all strifed up. We're here to be cheeky. We need to have a little fun. We need to play with life. That's when all these other things open up. That's when we are willing to be vulnerable, to put emotions on our sleeve, as they say. Oh, he wears heart on his sleeve. Oh, well, yeah. I used to think that was bad, but that's good, because I know if my heart is hurting right now, I'm okay. This is probably a bad situation. I need to move out. Right? We have to be able to be real, because that's all we're talking about, is being real. So when we prepare for this journey, facing these challenges, the biggest thing you can do is be real. As I said, when me and my friend was climbing the mountain, I was on my hands and knees, and I'm literally telling you the truth. I was on my hands and knees because I was real. I looked down, I was like, ooh, that is a long way to fall, and I got no parachute. But because I was real, he helped me reach my first 14er. He said, if that's what you need to do it. But I'm going to tell you, that's going to be a little more trickier, because now you got 4 things with moving rocks as opposed to 2. So I was open. And so we have this slide that speaks by Frank Ocean that says, there is just some magic in truth and honesty and openness. And that's what happened right there. He told me the truth about it's easier to fall down with 4 things moving on the ground than 2. Because now you got 4 slippery. I was open to it. He was honest and I was honest. And we continued on the journey. So that is what we're here to do. That is what life is calling us to do. Is to prepare for the journey of life, to be open, to never, ever give up. And so, in summary, when we look at it this way, the willingness to be open and vulnerable with ourselves, an important step in living a full life. It calls to take a look at all the aspects of ourselves and hold them with love and gentleness. As we move through the highways and byways, we are empowered to let go of the things that no longer serve us and allow our authentic selves to come free. So I want to close with this one quote by Paulo Coelho before we go to the call to actions. He has this beautiful quote that says this: "We are travelers on a cosmic journey, stardust swirling and dancing in the eddies and whirlpools of the infinite. Life is eternal. We have stopped for a moment to encounter each other, to meet, to love, to share. This is a precious moment. It is a little parenthesis in eternity." So let's play. Let's be open. This is a moment in eternity. Let's be vulnerable. Let's prepare for the journey. Be open. Allow. Innovate. And I guarantee you'll be surprised at what you'll find. And so as we prepare to do that this week, as always, we got the call to actions. You can't get out of here without a call to action. You got to do something. You can't just listen. You got to work, right? I couldn't have got to the top of the mountain if I didn't work by putting one foot in front of the other. So the first thing is this: what are some key steps in letting go and stepping into trust? What are some of the key steps in your own life? And you know it, I don't. Or what keeps you from letting go of all of the stuff and stepping into your truth? Think about that. Write that down. See if you can dream on it, whatever it takes, so that we open up. The second thing is this: where can you be more? And I left some letters out there. So that how can you be more is what I'm trying to tell y'all. How can you be more innovative in how you travel through life? See, Mo got more stuff than more. Just to let y'all know. So get you some more. That's how we say it in the South, actually. Get you some more. Better get you some more something to eat there. Okay. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to be prepared for this journey? So when we can get these steps in our lives and take some actions and be vulnerable and be open, the journey is a wonderful thing. And so with that, let us pray. Oh, Heavenly Father, Mother God, that dual aspect of life, that understanding that there is balance in the universe, and that we have vulnerabilities and that we have strengths, and it's those two things that come together in love that allow us to be who we are. Knowing that the divine mind of God is always present and always suggesting and showing and leading us in a way that allow us to be greater than we ever thought we could be. And so I know right here, right now, this day, that everyone here, everyone on this call, everyone who may watch this later, are opening our hearts, our minds, our very souls to the inspiration of God. And that we're beginning to see life differently now. We're beginning to take more chances. We're beginning to prepare more to live a fuller life with God at the center, guiding and encouraging and sometimes pushing us in a direction that will cause us to be more. And so as we continue on this journey called life, and knowing that vulnerabilities and challenges cannot be overlooked, they cannot be sidestepped, they cannot be ducked under, we just stand fully in the presence of God and accept what life has to offer. And we become true innovators in transforming everything into a very new way of looking at life. And so I give thanks for all of the ideas and all of the opportunities to move through the rough spots, to get to the highest peak and shout, I made it. Through the vulnerabilities, through the hardships, through the challenges. And when we do that, we'll have a smile on our face and we'll know that we are so. And so with that, I give thanks. I let go, I let God, and there's nothing else to be said. And so it is. Amen.
There is a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it.